The return of Albedo and Eula, both highly regarded characters, and with the case of Albedo, one that has been greatly anticipated since his initial release. And so the question on everyone's mind is, who should you summon for? Especially now, as it's gonna be a dual banner between the both of them. So both of them are great characters, but for some of us free to play players or don't spend that much, it's gonna be a choice. And so let's go over which one you should summon. So firstly, we have Albedo, a very underrated character who didn't receive much love when he was first released. But as time went on, people started to realize his true potential, and so since then has become a very hyped rerun banner. So Albedo is a Geo character that often fits that sub DPS or even main DPS role, and one that provides great damage, especially with the already high Geo multipliers the characters can have, and the fact that his skills scale off defense, which means he can be quite tanky, as well as the fact that the new Geo artifact set coming soon, it is looking to be a great time to pick him up. Also to note is most of his best weapons are only 3-star or 4-star weapons, like the Harbinger of Dawn or even the Festering Desire, which is very good for some free to play players who might not have access to the 5-star weapons. Now, some other great things about him is firstly his skill has an extremely low cooldown, meaning you'll be able to have a constant extra Geo damage with your attacks at all times, and then his burst will not only again deal great damage but will increase your elemental mastery by 125, which will then allow your other characters to deal even more damage with their reactions, even though Geo isn't that focused on reactions. Which brings up another point, and one that may be quite important in deciding whether or not to summon for him, and that is the Geo element in and of itself. So the Geo element doesn't really rely on other elements, as the Geo reaction isn't that good, and usually most of the damage is going to be coming from the abilities themselves, and that means that mono Geo teams or just Geo focused teams are really good. And so if you are thinking of grabbing Albedo, then it is advisable to have some other great Geo characters you can use with him, like Nelee for example, who's the usual character that's paired with him, as Nelee you'll have access to the shield, which means you'll have access to the Geo Resonance, which gives a huge increase in damage, or even the new character Ito, who's coming out very soon. And so Albedo is a great Geo character who does exceptional damage even with a 3-star weapon, but does require a bit of investment when it comes to his team. But now how about Eula? So Eula is a 5-star Cryo Claymore user that does primarily physical damage against the enemies. So one thing Eula and Albedo have in common is that most of their damage comes from their abilities and attacks rather than reactions. But now how is Eula? Well, pretty damn strong. As I mentioned before, most of her damage is going to be coming from her attacks, which does mean that most of her playstyle is again just focusing on her attacking, which could be boring depending on what you enjoy. However, one thing you will enjoy is her damage. Oh man, is it good. So you probably saw when she was released, but there were tons of videos on YouTube of her hitting millions of damage with her burst. And so if you like seeing high numbers, Eula is definitely the one for you. But now another question is, how will she fit in your team? As seen as she is indeed a physical damage dealer like Razor, it means that the super conduct reaction is definitely something you should be aiming for. And so pairing her with an Electro character, perhaps like Fischl, is highly recommended. Now when it comes to her equipment, the Pale Flame set is her best in slot, as it's pretty much made for physical damage dealers. As for her weapon, the Son of Broken Pines is, like the name, broken on her, and really does take her to a new level, just due to how well it works for her. But if you don't have it, then another Claymore with a physical damage bonus stat does very well. So now compared to Albedo, I would definitely say Eula comes out on top in terms of damage. I would honestly rate her among the top DPS in the entire game, just due to her insane potential. But now to go back to the question of this video, Albedo or Eula, well, if we were to just look at DPS potential, then I think it would go to Eula. However, oftentimes there is more to think about, like if you are picking up the new Geo character Ito, then Albedo does look like a perfect companion, or the fact that Albedo can do a ton of damage even with a 3-star weapon. But now personally, it's going to be a very difficult one for me, as I'm going to be summoning for Ito, so it makes sense to summon for Albedo, but at the same time Eula has been one of the characters that I regretted not summoning for and been wanting to try her out on a Raiden comp. So I think personally I might have to delve in my wallet and get my card because I just want all three, I guess. But anyways, who will you summon for? Leave a comment down below, and as always, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.